Welcome to 247 Real Talk. I'm your host, Julian Perry. It's a pleasure to be here with you for another week. I hope you had a great week since we last spoke. And I hope you're enjoying this great summer weather because it'll be over soon. This week I want to chat with you a little bit about the need to live a healthy lifestyle, the challenges in the time we live that really make living a healthy lifestyle a challenge, and the personal challenges associated with it. I want to share a bit of my own personal story so, we can really understand that this is a challenge that I face too, and it's something that maybe we can get on the same page and make sure that we, preserve our lives and live the best lives we can. So sit back, relax, and I'll be right back with you. So welcome back to 247 Real Talk Podcast. Again, my name is Julian Perry. I'm your host. It's a pleasure to be with you for another week. Hope you had a great week since we last spoke. And I got to tell you what triggered my desire to, or the inclination to have this conversation. I'm not sure how it's been with you guys, but I am not crazy old yet. I'm at a time of my life where I'm hearing about a lot of people dying in their 50s, dropping dead. Some suddenly, some at that age from different forms of cancers. Last week, lost someone I knew from cancer at 57. 3 weeks ago, a month ago, I lost another friend of cancer, glioblastoma, 57. Lost a friend of mine a couple of years ago, 55. Lost another one, 52. And I'm not saying this to get you down, nor am I saying this to say that what I'm talking about is a cure for things like cancer. But I often wonder how much our lifestyle plays a role in what develops in our lives and how we live out the latter years of our lives. And so I'm going to go back and tell you a little bit about my story growing up. As a kid living in the Caribbean, I was really into bodybuilding. I would want to say I was a remarkable bodybuilder because at 14 years old, I remember distinctly the pinnacle of that time was I used to work out with a guy who used to train, actually went Mr. Universe. I think his name was Mike Smith. I'm not sure. And he was back in the days of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Anyway, he was training myself and some others. And there was someone there about 5 or 6 years older than I am. And he was the strong guy in the group. So figure, he must have been about 20, 21 at the time. And bench press was his thing. And he would do incline, flat, and decline bench press, decline being the hardest. And I remember standing there one day, and I was a beast. I mean, I got to tell you, I had two 2x4s in the ground that I'd use as for parallel bar dips. And I'd put 50-pound weights around my waist and do an incredible number of dips. I'm talking like 100 at a time or more. My arms were ridiculous for my age. I remember that day he bench pressed 325 pounds. He did about 3 reps. And that was usually our last thing that we did for the workout, just to see like what's the max you can do. So it was about making the most amount of weight one time. And not to be outdone, at 14 years old, I was able to do a clean 1 rep down and up back into the bars of 325 at 14 years old. So I kind of thought that was the direction for me. Then I left the Caribbean. I came here to North America. Of course, things like McDonald's, Burger King, pizza, ice. Well, at that time I was lactose intolerant, but I'm not sure how much it bothered me at that time. But all the sweets that were never a part of our diet in the Caribbean because it's just a different diet, a different lifestyle. It's fresh fruit and it's fresh food, no pesticides. The things that we enjoy eating were fruit. And here I came, and all I could think about was McDonald's and Burger King. And for a while there, it seemed great because I always have had the ability to really bulk up in muscle. And so as I started eating this stuff, I got bigger and bigger. And for a moment there, it seemed like muscle until one day I woke up and it wasn't, right? And I'm giving you that history because as life went on, I went through a lot of different challenges in my life here. I struggled a lot. And it changed the trajectory of my life completely in terms of living and having the health and the body I always wanted. It's amazing how our lifestyles can really steal our health. And I'm not talking, and hear what I'm talking about. I'm talking about we live in a society that demands so much of us that it leaves us very little time for us. I know people today who get up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym to be able to get a workout for the day. I get up at 4 a.m. to go to work. Most recently, I've been coming home from work and exercising. So coming home from work, spend a little time with the family, exercise, cool down, have a shower, eat dinner, prepare my clothes to work, off to bed. And that is a daunting task each day. Most of the time when I'm on my way home on the railroad, I'm yawning. Remember, I got up at 4 a.m. It's now close to 5 p.m. and I'm now on the railroad on the way home. I'm yawning. I'm tired. I get home and many times I just want to relax for a little bit. I've got to be so conscious about relaxing because if I'm not, I fall asleep. And there goes the exercise for the evening. And this has been a repetitive thing. And I'm sharing this with you because it's really been a struggle. I think at this moment in time, I'm winning the battle, right? I'm winning the battle because I've been able to, I set a realistic goal. And that is part of this conversation, setting realistic goals. So what I did was rather than start off and go, 7 days a week, try to exercise and, go for these, 45-minute exercises and what, no, it doesn't work. I tested it a few times and I looked at the difference in my body and I realized it works. I work out intensely for 15 minutes every day, 3 days a week minimum. If I have it in me the fourth day, but 3 minimum. And it's usually Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Now, people might say 15 minutes, that's not a big deal. If you work out intensely, I'm either on the bike, the exercise bike, or the elliptical machine, or on the rowing machine. It makes a remarkable difference in my breath, in my cardio, and I see the difference in my body. It's an amazing thing when you start from where you look at where you were, where you had that last hole in your belt, where your belt was pulled all the way in and you had the tiniest waist you've had in years. And then you start to get distracted by life and you put your belt on one day and all of a sudden you're 3 holes away from that hole you used to be. And then you start doing these 50-minute exercises week after week and all of a sudden one day you wake up and the belt goes down to that last hole again. And it's a great feeling. And one would think that that is enough for you to say, keep it going. But it's not. I shared with you my struggle from Monday through Friday, my routine. And let me go through a week with you, and you'll get the point of where I'm coming from here. It's Sunday. Man, I'm a man of God. I go to church. I get home. Depending if I'm staying at church afterwards, because I'm part of the media team, and sometimes we prepare and broadcast and all these things. But if I get home, if I'm not doing anything, let's say I get home before 2 o'clock, around 2 o'clock, a little after 2 p.m. I come in, I relax a bit. Now, understand that Saturday night is usually a night I'll stay up late. I'll watch a movie with my wife or whatever. So I didn't get that much sleep because I woke up at 7. Come home, relax a little bit, start getting my clothes prepared for the week. I wear a suit work every day, and I found that coming home during the week and trying to get clothes ready and all that doesn't work. So on Sundays, I tend to iron 4 shirts and get my suits ready, iron this suit, press it, whatever. 4 of everything for the week. So coming through each week, I know what I'm going to wear. I just come home and I pull the next one out, put the previous one in the wash. By the time I'm done with that, between that, the kids are coming around, we're playing, we're chatting, we're doing whatever. I'm out in the yard with them, especially summertime, it's warm. Maybe my wife wants me to barbecue something for the week, and we do that a lot. We'll barbecue different things, fish and meat and chicken and whatever for the week. So in between all of that, I look up and it's 7:30, 8 o'clock. I've got to get to bed. I've got to at least try to get in my bed and just lie down shortly after 8 o'clock because I need an unwind period. I suffer from chronic insomnia. I've suffered with it for years. I've tried many different things. Recently, I've been doing a little better because the exercising has been helping a bit in getting me to sleep. But then I wake up like 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm up. So anyway, so basically my Sunday is done. I get to bed, 4 a.m. the alarm goes off. I go through that entire routine as I told you, get up, get ready, go to work, take the railroad to work all day, take the railroad home, come home, relax a little bit, play around with the kids a little bit, exercise, shower, have dinner, basically get ready to go to bed. And that's the same routine every day. What happens in between there many times is some days I'm so tired because I had such a hectic day at work, or it's near the end of the week, like Thursday, and I'm really exhausted now. And I lay across the bed for a moment, and it's like, whoa, you've really got to push yourself. If you don't push yourself, that's the end of the exercise for that night. You won't go. I told you I do have friends of mine who will go to the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning. I can't go to the gym. If in that routine I just laid out to you, if I have to leave my house to drive to the gym, it's never going to happen. So I made sure that I have a really nice, really, I would say, semi-professional gym in my basement, rowing machine, bench, elliptical, exercise bike, big screen, all of that. And I'm able to go down there and get my exercise in without traveling somewhere. But it's hard. And I can't tell you for the moment, for right now, because I fell off. I fell off for so long that now that I'm back on, I can feel and see the regrets in my body. I'm nowhere near the specimen I used to be. But why that is so important in this conversation is because I go back to all those friends who passed away, especially ones who passed away or people we hear passing away suddenly, realizing that they had high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes. My mom passed away from diabetes, albeit she was 86. But I remember going to the doctor one time and my A1C was at 6. And ever since then, I do blood work, blood labs every 3 to 4 months. And so far, I've been at 5.5. Now, the normal range is 5.4 to 5.6. So I'm smack middle in normal. But that requires me to, even when I fall off, to get right back up and exercise again. And all of this, I'm telling you, is just a normal routine. I haven't thrown in the stresses of life as yet. I haven't thrown in the unexpected things that come up every day with family, with work, things that change your mood, things that change the energy that you have to be able to go and throughout after all of that, commit yourselves to exercising. And hold on, we're still at exercising. We haven't talked about diet, except for the part I told you where I binged on cheeseburgers or whatever when I was a young kid. Now I get to eat healthy. My wife has an amazing green thumb. She won't admit it, but she does. We have an amazing garden. I built her an arbor, planter boxes. That's my DIY skill. I can build about anything. And she gets, let me see if I can list a few. She gets three different types of peppers, habanero, they call it, I think, chili pepper, jalapeno. She has butternut squash, eggplant, three or four different species of tomatoes, kale, lettuce, beans, crazy cucumbers. And so, and all the herbs like the basil and the thyme and all the things you season with. So whenever we're seasoning up meat. We don't buy those things from the store. We go to the yard and we pick them. And she's so much into it. She even has a small greenhouse. I promised myself to present her with a larger greenhouse this fall, so she could continue her endeavors because she loves gardening. And that's not. Let me continue. My wife found this apple tree. Um, Home Depot was offering this like a flash something. You had to go there. You couldn't buy it online. She ran there. They had these grafted apple trees that they grafted five different species of apples into one tree. So right now it's bearing on one side, it's bearing a certain species, and then at another time it'll bear on another side a different species. Amazing to see. She found dwarf banana trees. She has tangerines. She has lemons. She has lime. She has don't get me strawberries. It's amazing. My son goes out in the yard and picks strawberries off the tree and eats them. He loves them. And that is what I'm talking about, healthy lifestyle. But you have to understand that she's tired every day because gardening, taking care of a garden like that, and all the things that come with all the different unconventional methods we use with, I don't know if you guys ever heard about this, but there's these packet of mothballs they sell in like a net, and you have to buy many packets and you place them around the yard behind the planter beds. You don't want them in the planter beds because when the rain falls and they dissolve, I think that's poisonous for food, right? For food supply. But you put them around, it keeps the raccoons and the squirrel and the possum away. Then just something else. She had another powder she had to buy for ants. Once the place got warm, we had crazy different ants nests all over. She had to use this powder. So there's so much that goes into her being able to have this garden, and she does it. She's committed to it, and so that allows me to actually eat healthy when I otherwise would not have been able to. But how many people can do that? People live alone. People live in apartments. We live in a place in New York where apartment living is huge. Having a garden is not in the cards for many people. Buying the food off the shelf that has God knows what pesticide is a part of our everyday life, and many of us just live by it and accept it because we have no choice. So what I'm saying is you have to make a purposeful effort to find something you can do to tip the scale in your favor. My father in January coming, God bless him, he's going to be 92 years old. He lives in the Caribbean. He lives by himself. He drives. He has perfect eyesight. He has, his memory is great. His conversation is great. He's full of energy. Tomorrow is not promised, but my point is I grew up in a time where people lived that long. My mother had diabetes for 26 years. She died at 86 years old. And if it wasn't for the diabetes, she'd probably still be here. Now we come to my generation and people are dropping like flies. And many, we read all these stories all the time about, footballers and basketballers just dropping for heart attacks on the field or on the court. And while I know there's certain phenomena, certain medical conditions that cause some of those things, the point is we live in a time when their stress is unbelievable. Look at our political climate. I'm not going to get into that conversation now because it's almost unreal what's going on in politics. And it becomes personalized because even though we may not care about a candidate on either side specifically, if we identify with one ideology and the other, if we do better when there's one type of government in place, we worry. Look at the student loans fight that has gone on, and now people are dealing with having to, pay student loans in, was it September, and not knowing how they're going to do it. Yes, President Biden has put quite a few things in place to help, but it would have been better if we could have given these people the debt relief that they need. But no, politics got in the way to fight for it. Look at women who are fighting the abortion rules and laws that the Supreme Court handed down. Look at the stress it puts on them and their lives. Certain states telling people, a few states make exceptions, but not everyone. If a woman is sexually abused or raped, she has to keep a child after a certain period of time. Think about the pressures of life. Think about how it's so easy for us to get preoccupied. Think about it, how easy it is to come home each day and we're so exhausted from living that we can't afford to do the things that we need to do to live. Not only to make sure that we're healthy, but to make sure we're doing things other than work, home, eat, sleep, work, home, eat, sleep, and it takes effort. There's a lot of people who walk around. I've had friends of mine do it. I've heard them on TV who do this thing they call body shaming, where they make fun of people who have different body sizes or people who are heavy set or whatever the case may be. I have had my challenges, and I can't think about, or when I think about body shaming, I don't know how many of you realize how much of an impact that has and how cruel that actually is. The struggle, people have found themselves in such places of depression, of oppression, of lack of hope, that the struggle has beaten them. It's easy to just come home and sit down in front of the TV and eat something, eat a bowl of ice cream because it gives you a certain amount of peace and momentary, it creates a momentary block from the stresses you feel. And then as you keep doing that and you start putting on more and more weight, all of a sudden the challenge shifts from the stresses just from your life, but now to depression because you find yourself in a place that you can't get out of. Losing weight, keeping it off for many, many people is hard. It's a battle I have fought. Once I got away from bodybuilding, it's a battle in this life, in this society that I have fought. And I continue to fight. That I've gone back and forth on a scale of winning and losing and winning and losing and winning and losing. And all of this, I say, is a plea to all of you to find some time, regardless of the pressures of life, to take care of yourselves, to make sure that your lifestyle supports as much as you can, that's in your control, your road towards longevity, so that you don't go to work every single day and then when you finally retire, you drop dead. People talk about saying, so many people are living to 70 years or less. They work until 62 or 65, and then they get to enjoy 2 or 3 years of life, and just when they start to enjoy it, they drop dead. They've worn their bodies out. They've not taken care of themselves because they've been trying to just survive. We have to make a conscious effort to be healthy. I know it's easier said than done. And I'm not telling you this from some gym where I'm the perfectly fit guy with a skipping rope telling you come in here and hard work and they'll pay off. No, I'm telling you this from someone who is going down the same path that you are, the challenges of each and every day. Someone like myself who struggles every day to make sure I carve out that exercise time. Struggles to make sure that when I feel like I want to eat something sweet or something nice, I push myself out of it and I find myself, more in the vegetables, more in the fruit, more in the zero carb and the zero calories and, that sort of thing, food groups. Some of those things don't taste well, are very nice. Most of them do actually. But that is an effort and it's work. And I'm reaching out to all of you and telling you this because I'm tired of hearing my friends dropping dead. This, and I don't know why for some of them. And I often wonder, even the ones with cancer, what caused it? Was it? They say that it's genetic, and I believe that to a large extent, barring exposure to environmental things that can trigger certain genes. But, people smoke heavily because it's a way for them to deal with the stresses of their life. We've got to make better decisions. I want to be here 15 years from now running a successful podcast with you joining me or having joined me for all these years in successful ways to make big differences in the lives of those of us who are here and those of us to come, our children, our children's children. And I want to know that all of you who are here, at least none of you have passed on from natural causes that were avoidable, where you made yourself so out of shape and so heavy that your hearts couldn't take it. We have to make a conscious effort to be healthy. Something else I do is I have a bike. I have an e-bike actually. So I can ride, and when I get tired, I can put on the electric part and have it assist me. But the point is, your legs are going around, you're pedaling, you take a ride. It's good for you breathing, it's good for exercise, it's good for the body. I have an exercise bike at home. These things that I'm talking about are not crazy expensive. The exercise bike at home allows me to come home and sit on the bike and do 50-minute real exercises. It's not the Peloton, but it's one of those companies that you have the screen and you have the trainer. I have the elliptical, which I happen to actually love doing the elliptical because it's my hands and legs, everything are moving, which is more than the bike, and you can set the resistance. And it's not easy. There's many times when I'm working out where I'm only doing 15 minutes, now I'm my 10th or 11th minute, and I'm saying, oh, please, 15, please come. I'm sweating, I'm exhausted. But when I'm done, I feel great, not only physically, but mentally. So we have a lot of things going on in our lives. Children, family, illnesses, things like the pandemic and the post-pandemic stresses, our jobs, the economy, inflation, politics. There are a lot of things to distract us. But we can't fight or make a difference with any of those things if we are not healthy enough to do so to begin with. Even those of you who find yourselves in a situation where the struggle is bigger than you, I am here. Email me, podcast@247realtalk.net. I will try to not only motivate you, but try to find ways, economical ways, even free ways and free opportunities for you to get the motivation you need to start on that journey to making your lives better. Like I said, there's many times when I fall off the wagon and I get right back on. Recently, I've been pretty good and I'm seeing the difference, and that difference is motivating me to go harder and harder. I'm hoping that 6 months from now, I'm really back to the shape I was maybe 3 years ago, before the pandemic. Pandemic hurt a lot of us. We sat at home. We were depressed. I personally had COVID, the big COVID when it first came, the one that they didn't have anything for. And once I got healthy again, I think eating, sitting down at home, being locked in the house, just eating, really did a lot of damage to me physically. I'm on the mend, I'm on the road, but I believe to not only success, but to a healthier lifestyle. I ask you to join me. It is summer now. Make some time, if you can't do it during the week and the weekends, to get outdoors. Not, and I say outdoors, don't go outdoors and go to a movie theater or whatever. That's nice, but go to a park and walk. Go to the beach and walk. I have a nature preserve by me, go to walk. Go outside in your backyard and just sit down and breathe in the fresh air. Hopefully it's fresh enough. That's another story. But do something that gets you motivated and that puts you in a place that gives you relaxation. I've worked hard in my backyard to create my oasis. And I find it to be a beautiful space to just sit and relax and feel all the stress disappear. Stress kills. I want you guys to be here, and I want to be here to have many more conversations, to have many more podcast episodes, and for you to tell me of your success stories as you've beaten this challenge, this daily challenge to live life where you can provide for your family, spend time with your family, and still take care of yourselves. I know for many it's a hard thing to start and even a harder thing to continue. After day one, you feel so good. When you come home and you have to do it again on day two, it's hard. I've had friends of mine who wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning and they go running for 5 miles. That's commitment. But many times they tell me, oh, I haven't run for the entire week. And you know what? I can see it in their body, in the way they move, in their whole appearance. We have to do something in a world that's telling us no, in a world that has so many things to take us out of here. We've got to fight back. Start with the things you can do and make sure you're here for your family for many years to come. And you're here to watch your children grow up and to spend time with your grands and maybe even your great-grands. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about health and share that. I did an episode on mental health the other day, and I thought that maybe having this conversation, hearing my story, and me being a bit motivating would help you. And if you want me to talk more about this, email me again or text me, WhatsApp. Everybody has a different way of getting a hold of me. The email is podcast@247realtalk.net. Also, I want feedback on how the quality of this video tonight. I am testing out some new wireless equipment. It's called a Mars 4K kit by a company called Hollyland. And so the camera in front of me is broadcasting wirelessly to my switch, my video switcher, which is in turn connected to my 4K recorder that is what ends up being out there that you receive as a video on YouTube. Let me know in your comments, how it looks, if it worked okay, if there's any lag. Hopefully there's not, because this was a long episode to record, and we'll have time to do it again this week, so hopefully all is well. I thank you again so much for the pleasure of coming into your homes, for continuing to make 247 Real Talk podcast a success. Remember, I'm on YouTube. I'm on just about every single audio podcast app that there is. Please, for those of you who watch me on YouTube, it's really important that you subscribe and that you share the podcast and that you invite others to subscribe. I'm trying to get a bigger conversation on many different types of topics and hopefully get us to a larger community of people who are like-minded people who are making a difference in the world, from our personal lives to the lives of others. Again, it's been a pleasure. I wish you a great weekend, a great week ahead. Do enjoy the weather. Be safe. Until the next time, please take care of yourselves and each other.